Hello, everyone, and welcome to Carbon. This is the host spot for The Rundown with Rene Knott, and I am Rene Knott. Our first guest in our series of podcasts is former Mayor of St. Louis, Tishaura O. We had a very deep and interesting conversation. Some of the things I learned about her, you're going to learn for the first time yourself. Her pride with being a single mom. The one thing she wishes she had done more of when she was mayor of the city of St. Louis. And of course, the things that she's most proud of that she did for our city as she sat as mayor. First of all, thank you for being on the first podcast.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm honored.
What is life like for you now that you're not the mayor?
It's quiet. I don't have to do as much. I have a closet full of clothes that I can't wear anymore. Shoes that I don't wear anymore. But I am able to concentrate on things that I couldn't before. Okay. Number one being my kid. Yeah. Not that I wasn't concentrating on my kid, but I'm even more involved and active in his transition to adulthood. Yeah. He turned 18 in September. Wow. And no one told me that it hits you like a ton of bricks. Like you're excited and then you're anxious and afraid all at the same time. Or for me it was. Yeah. I was excited. I'm like, yes, he hit 18. And then you just start getting the emails of, Aiden's not connected to your account anymore. Yeah. And he can uncouple himself from the little digital universe that we've created. And I'm like, oh, yeah, exactly. He's 18. Yeah. He can make his own decision.
How do you keep the loyalty then between mother and son and mom?
Well, he's a mama's boy. Okay. And he's going to hate that I said that publicly, but he's my best friend. And we have developed a great relationship because it's been just the two of us. His father lives in North Carolina, and that's where he is now, spending his senior year there. But for the most part, it's just been the two of us. And he's a good kid. He's well-balanced. He's emotionally mature, in touch with his feelings, and smart.
Okay. Yeah. Well, spoken like a true mom.
Yeah.
I got to go back to you being in office. And, when you leave office and you leave because someone got more votes than you did, was there this whole idea of who am I now? Or did you know who you were when you walked out of office?
I've always known who I was. This office didn't define me. I never let a title define me. I was always Tishaura Jones, daughter of Proudest and Laura, and I knew what I had to offer the world. So while it was while it hurt, losing your job in such a public way, as you can relate to, definitely there's a grieving period. But I never was at a point was like, oh, what do I do now? Because part of me kind of felt it coming. And because of that, I just had sort of like a mental plan of things that I could do once out of office.
Do you ever think about going places and people looking at you as, she used to be the mayor of St. Louis. She used to be. Does that bother you? Do you think about that? Because I know when I'm out, and I don't go out very much, I get that sense that people are looking at you differently than they did before.
I would say people have been very kind. When I go to the grocery store, when I go get my wares from Costco, because I'm a Costco chick, people have been very, very kind in their approach. They'll come up to me, they'll shake my hand and say, you were a great mayor. We really appreciated your service. And some will even go further and say, we wish you was still in office. Wow. They've been very kind. I have not had an unkind interaction from someone who knows who I am when I've been out in public. Went to a concert just the other night, and several of the concert goers were like, "My forever mayor, my forever mayor." So it's been heartening that way. Okay. Yeah.
Was it always that way when you were in office?
You know what? I would say people were very, very respectful, but it also depended on the setting, right? Town hall meetings, obviously, people have a lot of things that they want to complain about. And those weren't always the best. But one of the things I tried to do was, even after a town hall where we would have a contentious conversation, is I would go up to that person afterwards.
Really?
Yeah, to try to see, what could I do to help solve their problem. I didn't always win them over,
Mm-hmm.
but I would say about 7 to 8 times out of 10, I won them over. Mm-hmm.
When you look back at your tenure, what do you think is your proudest accomplishment?
My proudest accomplishment is a couple of things. What we did for kids, because I brought my motherhood to the office, wanting to create spaces for kids to be kids. And that comes from a place of my son realizing that when I became mayor, that I would be over the police. And he said to me, well, then I'll be safe. And it was a gut punch, because I was like, your mom doesn't have to become mayor in order for you to feel safe with police interactions. But that also became sort of like my North Star.
Okay.
To make sure that we provided the safest environment we could for kids, because, our children were dying from gun violence left and right, and mothers were losing their children. So, making investments in rec centers, in activities for kids on the weekends, because, they like to come downtown. So we would distract them with shiny objects. I'm like, hey, this ain't rocket science. Let's just meet them where they are. If they like to come downtown, then let's provide activities for them downtown, and so they aren't distracted to do other things or other, breaking the cars or whatever, getting in trouble. I'm also proudest of what we did for crime and public safety. St. Louis is much safer than it was 4 years ago. We are bringing down violent crime by double-digit percentages, and I was very excited to do that, excited that our first chief from outside was hired under my tenure. And I'm proud of what we tried to do on economic development, lifting up all communities, creating space and opportunity for Black and brown businesses to thrive.
What's the biggest disappointment?
My biggest disappointment, I would say, was operations. It's a lot of moving pieces, and the snowstorm was what it was, and I got blamed for it. But I'm not Mother Nature. Who knew that we would have a snowstorm or a weather event that was going to last 3 weeks? However, we tried to do we tried to do a lot of the foundational work, and that's what a lot of people don't see. The foundational work of improving the systems that run City Hall. When I got there, we were still using typewriters and personnel.
Wow.
Right.
Wow.
It took 9 months to get a response if you apply for a job with the city. Now that time is down to 30 days or less. Even the hiring process, we totally revamped that. Upgraded a lot of those systems, or those old MS-DOS systems. And people don't realize that a lot of that foundational work has to happen before you can grow and move to higher heights.
Do you feel like you grew St. Louis? When you look back, you go, I think we grew. You may not hit all your things, but you felt like you left it a better place than when you came in?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Definitely made it a safer place than when I came in. And there are projects that are going on now that, will happen well after I'm gone, because we started them. Okay. The airport, for example, we started that process. The new facility for emergency management and 911, started that, pulled together all of the funding for that. The repaving of streets. So we planted a lot of seeds for trees that we will never get to sit under their shade.
One of the things I've noticed lately is that you've, on social media, and, you said some things about the current mayor, at least the way things are happening. Is it when you see the things you start, someone else get credit for or see them grow? Is it tough for you to sit silently by and let that happen? Is that why you mention things, or what encourages you to go on social media?
What encourages, I'm always on social media, just, watching how the world is passing by. But, absolutely, I feel a certain kind of way when someone takes credit for the work that either myself or my staff worked hours and hours and hours to do. And I think it's unfair, and I think it's unfair to the people who did the work, who started the work, and it's unfair to the people who were working hard to make that happen. So that person could come in and take credit for it. I just don't think it's fair. But when I tell my son all the time, life's not fair, so whatever. But I'm going to remind people.
But to the critics who'll say, "Oh, she's just being a sore loser. That's why she's saying what she's saying now." Does that upset you, or do you go back at those people, or you just kind of go, "That's your opinion"?
That's your opinion. Yeah, everybody's got one.
Hey, we'll leave it at that. Everybody's got one. We know the rest of that line. Let's talk about the here and the now and what you're up to these days. I know you're with your son as far as behind him for one day becoming an NBA baller and all of that. But how do you occupy your days now as a private citizen?
So I started a consulting firm and working with businesses across the country to help cities work smarter, not harder, and help cities do more with less. So I have a couple of technology firms that I'm working with, as well as a couple of real estate developers. So just helping them, knock down bureaucracy, leveraging my network when they run into some red tape. It's been very fulfilling.
That's cool. But when you look at a city like St. Louis and they called you up and they want to make you to be the consultant, the strategist, how do you change the outside, what I want to say, opinions people have of St. Louis? Because people tend to look at St. Louis as, oh, murder capital of the world, don't go there, this is dangerous, this is that. How do you make St. Louis look better to the outside world, I guess is the question.
Well, that's funny. I have never experienced that in all of my travels. Anytime when I was mayor or treasurer and I would go to different cities, meet people, tell them where I'm from and what I do, I always say that all roads go through St. Louis. And every person that I have met that finds out I'm from St. Louis will say, oh, I have a relative who grew up there, or I grew up there, or I have family there. And they tell wonderful stories about our city. So we don't hear enough of that. And we know that whole murder capital thing it's a numbers game. Yeah. It's a numbers game. And I also tried as mayor to fix that as well, because all that requires is the city and the county combining their crime numbers and then sending them to the FBI. It doesn't even require a merger, because they say, well, if we do a city-county merger, then our crime stats will change. No, all we got to do is write to the state patrol and ask them to combine our numbers.
Do you think there ever will be a city-county merger?
I don't know. I doubt it.
Really?
I doubt it. I think that St. Louisans hold on to whatever it is so tight. Their identities, their neighborhoods, their small municipal governments, they hold on to them just with so tight hands that everybody has to be willing to give up something. And I don't think St. Louis is ready. Okay.
Now, you can go anywhere in the world now. You don't have to keep calling St. Louis home. What keeps you in St. Louis?
It's cheap. Right. I mean, I have a great house in a decent neighborhood. I'm on the west side of the city. And my mortgage is wonderful. Yeah, it's great. So, and we have a major airport here, so I can go anywhere and get anywhere I need to within a 2 to 3 hour flight.
Yeah. So those are some of the pluses that probably should be talked about more when it
should
comes to our
be.
city.
It should be.
Talk about the airport being accessible. Talk about, the ability to afford things and stuff like that.
We're the 6th most affordable city in the country.
That's saying a lot. That is saying a lot. So now I know you're here because of the financial benefits of being here. Are you thinking about traveling, thinking about going places, because now you're not tied to a desk. You can go wherever you want.
Right. Definitely going to be back and forth to Durham, North Carolina a lot, watching my son play basketball. I already got my custom-made sweatshirt ready. And, ready to sit on the sidelines and cheer for my baby. And my consulting practice takes me out of the city pretty frequently. So we'll continue to do that.
No one's pulling you back into politics as of yet.
So sometimes when I am out, when people say, I wish you were still our mayor, or do you think that you're going to run again? I always say no, but my mother, God rest her soul, always used to tell me the quickest way to make God laugh is to tell him what you would never do. So I know what I say, but I don't know what God says.
You're the first Black woman to be mayor of St. Louis. When little girls look up to you and think, one day, do you want to go and say something to them as far as getting there or maybe not wanting to do this?
No, I want them to dream big. Our children can't be what they can't see. And so for 4 years, our children got to, sit in front of the camera or whatever device that they are using now to watch the news and see that their mayor looked like them, our little Black girls. And then our little girls, period, get to see now that, we've had 3 women mayors in a row. Right. They get to see that that's a possibility, that women's leadership is a possibility. So I'm happy to be able to inspire young girls to do that.
What is the advice that you would give to someone if a high school student or a college student came up to you and said, I want to be where you were? How do I get there? What is the advice you give them?
The thing that I have told young people so far is that the first thing you need to know, or the quality that you need to have, is caring and compassion. You gotta care and care for people, because you can't serve the people if you don't love the people. You can't. And I definitely loved my time as mayor. I loved serving and loved my time in politics. I was in politics for over 20 years and loved my time in service because I knew that the decisions that I made, the things that I advocated for, directly affected the lives of people that I served. Things like our guaranteed basic income pilot that helped over 500 families with $500 a month for 18 months. I met some of those families and they told me that they could breathe and spend more time with their kids and, not have to work 3 and 4 jobs. They could cut back and actually be present with their children. And it reminded me of something my dad used to tell me. He said, there's not very many problems that access to more money wouldn't fix.
True. Mm-hmm. True. So as we wrap things up, how do I address you? Do I just call you Tishaura, Ms. Jones, former Mayor Jones? What is the title you like to go by now?
So Mark Morial, who's the head of the Urban League, former mayor of New Orleans, once spoke last summer when he was speaking at the U.S. Conference of Mayors Conference, which I went to again, even though I'm not a mayor anymore. He says, once a mayor, always a mayor. Okay. So you can keep calling me Mayor Jones.
All right, Mayor Jones. Thank you so much for being on. Appreciate you.
Thank you.